Kurtis Mathews just completed the highest scoring dive through 4 rounds, the Texas A&M Aggie, and he is in first place. And Cynthia, I have a feeling when Mathews and Hernandez are training by themselves, each might be thinking of the other as they go head-to-head in these competitions.
Oh, I don't know. I think if they're not thinking about what they're doing, they're going to get in trouble. These dives are so hard that they don't really have space in the head to think about what the other one's
Understood,
up
but boy,
to.
they seem to be going back and forth at the top of that leaderboard.
And they've done this many times, and it's just fun to watch them. The artistry, the athleticism, the poise. Takuto Endo doing a reverse 2.5 somersault, and we just saw some reverse 3.5s. So this is a lower degree of difficulty than the reverse 3.5 carries. Pretty pike position, very pretty. Nice stretch, good toe point, but it's hard to compete with guys that are doing 3.8 and 3.9 degree of difficulty dives. When you mark out the 2 highest and the 2 lowest scores, you got 3 scores together that you add, and then you multiply it times the degree of difficulty. It can yield a whole bunch of points if that multiplication factor is 2.8 or 3.8 or 3.9.
Chase Lane, 7th through 4 rounds.
Over-rotates just slightly. Sometimes your adrenaline can get the best of you. And I don't pretend to know what they're feeling, but that could have been a better entry for him to receive some 8s. Because we're seeing some fabulous dives. So the judges compare and contrast.
3 6.5s, 1 7.5 for Chase Lane. There's Bryden Hattie, 6th place through 4 rounds.
This guy is a master at compensation because his takeoff was a little bit off. And he really knows, okay, so my feet weren't quite on the end of the springboard. I got to really use the visual references, keep my head in line, line up vertically. Does it all just right.
Ends up being his highest scoring dive through his 5 rounds, 77.5. And Sam Duncan is coming off that frustrating 4th round.
And that's a tough one. You know, in all sports, the best thing you can do is have a short memory at times. And if you can leave the missed dive behind and do the next one like Sam just did, then you are a whole lot better than most divers, especially freshmen, and that's what Sam is.
Coaches like that, the bounce back. Here is Juan Hernandez. He's in 2nd place through 4 rounds. 6-time NCAA champion. At his best dive, though, back in that 4th round.
And this is huge. A forward 4.5 somersaults. Spin around 4.5 times off a 3-meter springboard. That was stepping up. But the ticket is that he seems so much more relaxed, which makes his diving more efficient. You can't tighten up and do good board work, and he is just demonstrating superior skills.
Does a 95 total score for Juan Hernandez work for you?
I think it works for him, and I bet it works for Doug Schaefer. We might have seen the dance on that one.
Matthew Wade of Tennessee in deep thought. He's in third place, at least through 4 rounds.
Just miscalculates, unfolding, and finding the verticalness. I love the drop onto the end of the springboard, the stretching of the toes and the fingertips, but the entry is slightly deficient.
And that's Matthew Wade's lowest scoring dive of the 5 rounds at a 54. Danny Zhang has been all over the map. He was leading after 2 rounds, fell to 6th, climbed back to 4th as he enters his 5th dive.
Well, at the moment, nobody has the firepower to go ahead of Hernandez and Mathews unless one of them misses. And when I say firepower, I mean the high degree of difficulties that Hernandez and Kurtis Mathews do in the final 2 rounds. But this is a very well-performed dive, but there's just no way, unless they miss, to go ahead of them at this point.
Yeah, the math certainly is in their favor. There's the scores for Danny. 1-8, a lot of 7.5s. And it brings up our leader again. There's Kurtis Mathews. Last year he won the SEC Men's Diver of the Meet, having a great meet here in 2021.
Yeah, he won both springboard events, and he will not go to the NCAAs because he's going to go back to Australia and he's going to be in the Olympic trials. And you know what I love is that Jay LaRue says, that's fine. That's why not? That's the ultimate goal for any diver. Get to the Olympic Games. That's a good dive, but it's not going to equal what Juan Hernandez just did. The degree of difficulty was lower, and it's not quite vertical. It just doesn't have the drop and the entry into the water that Hernandez does. He'll stay in 2nd place.
Well, the men's 3-meter really had a feeling that it just picked up where the 1-meter left off last night. 2 great competitors, Juan Hernandez and Kurtis Mathews, as we take a look at our leaderboard through 5 rounds of the competition. Very little separation between Hernandez and Mathews. And as we welcome in Cynthia Potter. Cynthia, really there was high drama all night.
It was incredible, and I loved watching these 2 go head-to-head. Kurtis Mathews in round 4 picked up an 18-point lead by doing a dive that was so high, so full of artistry, and it set him up to be competitive with Juan the rest of the competition. And going into round 5, we don't know who's going to win, but it's probably going to be one of them with their artistry, their athleticism, and their incredible entries into the water. They jump higher than anybody I've ever seen, and they keep doing it in every round.
Well, don't go away. Round 6, our final round, is coming up next. There's the leaderboard through 5 rounds of the men's 3 meters. And Cynthia, there's plenty of separation. Hernandez and Mathews from the rest of the pack. So here we go, one final round for these 2 accomplished divers.
The drama is high because these guys both have high degree of difficulty dives. Juan having 1/10 more in the final round. But this is the kind of contest you want to dive in. You want to win when the other divers are diving their best. At least that's what I think.
I think you're exactly right. I won't disagree. Takuto Endo begins our last round.
Nice last round dive. Very nice. Was safely in 6th place. And I don't want to take anything away from this field. They are doing beautiful dives. But like I said, the contest is between the guys that have the two highest degree of difficulties in the competitions, and they are known to be the best divers.
Takuto will take solace. That was his best dive for last. Chase lane 7 through 5 rounds, looking for a good finish as well.
His balance and his timing on the takeoff was impeccable. He puts his feet right on the end. He waits, he's patient. He swings his arms down, up over his head. His feet bobble just a little bit in that twist. That's tough. There's a lot of force pulling against the legs and the ankles when you're doing those multiple twists.
There's Juan Hernandez, maybe visualizing or thinking about that final dive.
Yeah.
A couple people ahead of him yet, including Bryden, Hattie. 5th through 5 rounds.
I thought that was a little too close to the springboard with his feet. Now, I know he went off to the side a little bit. I think he comes towards us, the right side of the springboard, but look right here. His feet almost go through the springboard, and if he's off to the side, his feet won't touch the springboard, but the judges would deduct for that, and that might be why he wouldn't get all 8s or above.
You're exactly right.
And I think that's why he got that 5 and 5.5. That's what we call going through the springboard. Not being in front of it, he doesn't touch it.
Final dive for Sam Duncan, one of our 3 freshmen. Great experience for them in this SEC Finals.
It's just magnificent to dive in a final where the leaders are diving so beautifully, so powerful, because you get the feeling that I can be in the final, but I might need to step up my game, and so I got a plan for next year.
Cynthia, what's going through the mind right now of this calm and collected Juan Hernandez?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Is he calm and collected, or is he paddling like underwater as a duck would, and we just don't see it? Because if this takeoff is not smooth, rhythmical, and in balance, he'll have trouble with this dive. And one of the things that's happened in the past on this is his feet come apart a little bit in this triple twist. Highest degree of difficulty dive in the competition. He kept his feet together. That was an improvement. And I got to give all credit to what he just did. His entry just a little bit shy of vertical, but his feet were together, and that is a huge improvement of what he has done in the past. And I think working on that with Coach Doug Schaefer has made a huge difference. The entry wasn't as good as he would want it to be, but still over 80 points. So Kurtis Mathews has a shot. He has to score some pretty high points, but he has a shot at this title.
4 dives of 81 points or better for Juan Hernandez. Here's Matthew Wade in 4th place.
Oh, that is really an exquisite forward 3.5 somersault. Well, I stand corrected. That was a little shy of vertical. That entry was not perfectly vertical, and that's why he won't receive the 8s.
His scores, though, will push him over the 400-point plateau in the competition with 7.5s. 2 more to go. Danny Zhang, who's 3rd, and then Kurtis Mathews, who's 2nd.
Danny Zhang needs some pretty high scores to stay in one of the top 3 spots right now. He needs to surpass 414.60 points. This is going to be close. He needs basically more 8s than 7.5s. And that might not do it. He was just a little loose with his legs and feet as he went around in that twist.
Score Cynthia just a little bit lower.
Oh, he does do it. He does.
415. There's Juan Hernandez, mask on, waiting to see what Kurtis Mathews does with the final dive.
Kurtis Mathews needs 7.5s on this forward 4.5 somersault. 7.5s to be the champion once again. He's the defending champion.
All comes down to this. Did he do it?
I don't think so. And the reason I don't is because he was way up above the springboard. Takeoff was fabulous. Takeoff was unbelievable. Will they give it to him because of the takeoff and the height, or will they not? They do!
He got it.
They do! And that is wonderful because they didn't take off. They didn't take off an extraordinary amount for a little bit of a missed entry. And I think that is appropriate because of the power and the extraordinary assets that he demonstrated as he left the springboard.
By less than 2 points, Kurtis Mathews is the SEC 3-meter springboard champion. Hugs and high fives from his teammates. We'll visit with Kurtis Mathews when we come back to the Mizzou Aquatic Center. Kurtis Mathews is the champ. And we welcome in our champion. Congratulations, Kurtis Mathews.
Hey, thank you so much. Wow, what a competition.
Oh, Kurtis, you and Juan did it once again. I gotta ask you, when you hit the water on your last dive, did you think you had outscored Juan? What was your thought?
No, I really had no idea. I just came up out of the water and I looked at the scoreboard straight away, and I saw my score, and then I saw the score down in the lead diver score, and I actually thought we'd tied there for a second, but then after about 10 seconds, one of the coaches told me that I'd in fact won by 2 points. What an incredible competition.
It was majestic to watch you guys go back and forth, and I think that I was a bit stumped. I didn't know whether you would get the points for the board work and the height and what you did before you hit the water. I know your entry was just slightly off.
Yep.
And you better than anybody knows that, but you were a pleasure to watch. This competition was so incredible. Did you feel the adrenaline throughout just because of the drama with you and Juan?
Yeah, I mean, I always get adrenaline before competition, and I love competing with this group of guys. I mean, it's always fantastic, and I don't want to call it a rivalry, but Juan and I are fairly similarly matched in skill in DD, and so whenever we get put together, it's always going to be a really, really tough competition. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just really, really pleased with my performance, and the field was great. The SEC is it's a wonderful conference full of so much young talent, new and old people. So
the friendly rivalry is spectacular to watch. We wish you well and hope that you make it to Tokyo, because I know that's where you're headed to your Olympic trials next.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You have a good one.